Hello everyone, I hope this is coming through okay for you. I just wanted to jump on here because I've had a lot of resistance in my life to really shining and being the woman that I've always wanted to be. And I think ultimately it stems in a lot of different things. And I'll just share with you too, those of you who may have had fathers who maybe were not there or were present but still not there, or anybody who has had a challenge with that parental figure, that father figure, right? A lot of times that solar masculine has to do with our solar plexus, has to do with our confidence and our courage. And so I just wanted to share that if you are lacking in confidence and courage and you've kind of dealt with something like that in your life, just know that you can still step into the person that you're meant to be. You just may have to really look at some of those survival patterns and look at those challenges as really an opportunity to love and to love yourself in the way that maybe your father couldn't be there. And I know there's a lot of really great men out there. There's a lot of great fathers. And we just love and honor and support all of them, right? From the ones who weren't able to show up to the ones who were, and just bring love there, and just have faith that we're all growing and healing. But I wanted to share, I've had a ton of resistance myself to really to being present online, to really sharing my tips and tricks, to being your best self. And a lot of that stems from what I'm sharing with you now is my own confidence, my own courage. And I think a lot of times when we're we all know what we need to do in terms of health, right? Just like certain people may know exactly what they need to do to build a business, or they may know exactly what they need to do to create the life that they want and deserve and are hoping to create. But it's a lot easier said than done, right? The foundation is the foundation is the foundation. And if you're not willing to put in the foundational support, then it's going to be really hard to continue when you're faced with temptation. So, for instance, it takes a lot of discipline. It takes a lot of self-love to say no to the patterns and the things that have kept us stuck, and then saying yes to the things that help us heal. For instance, I'll just share this. My resistance even to eating healthy food. So recently I eat very simply because my life is so busy and so hectic that I eat a lot of the same foods. And this has been for about 10 years now, and I'm in a place where I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to learn to cook some other foods and really branch out of my comfort zone. And I've had a lot of resistance to that because I'm really working through a lot of other things. But it's time, so I'm gonna really start. I really want to learn to cook Asian food. I love Asian bistro stuff. So that's what I'm gonna be learning to cook. And I have a really sensitive palate. So anyway, I'm still working through it so I can find things that I love to eat, because my staples right now that I've used for the last several years are not working. I'm just sick of them. I'm so sick of them. But that's my own resistance. And I think it's really important that whenever, it's just to recognize that resistance and say, okay, well, how can I problem solve here? How can I go to, hi Tim. How can I navigate around this? How can I make a simple action step? So for me, that might be, okay, well, I'm going to learn one new dish a week. All right. So that, in a month I learn 4 new dishes, and maybe I like them, maybe I don't. I'm going to be learning how to make pho soon because I love it. I don't want to have to eat out all the time because that's just not super sustainable for me. And I like knowing exactly what's in my food. So I know that there's not a lot of preservatives and I know that I can get organic ingredients and that sort of thing. So yeah, and I really love like fruit in the morning, because that just helps to, like, I know I'm getting my antioxidants in, that sort of thing. Anyway, but I just wanted to share, because a lot of us will run into resistance to those things that we really want. And it's really recognizing those patterns. And so it's really about, it's really releasing the things. Well, I'll just share this, okay? Because a lot of times we have these programmings that are like going through our head, and a lot of times we may not even recognize them. For instance, when I started, I was working with a coach these last few months, and I had huge resistance to showing up online and being present and really being a guide for people. But you know, when I was younger, when my teeth came in, I had buck teeth as a child, and I had a huge overbite. My jaw also was like this, so I had my two front teeth were super prominent, and I have super big teeth anyway. And so I was bullied unmercifully for about 4 years. And so every time I come online, I hear those voices. I hear those like, oh, you're ugly, and I have to like fix everything. You know, I have to fix everything. So those are my patterns, and you know, those voices are not true anymore at all, right? I felt ugly during that period of my life, but now moving forward, I you know, it's like, you know, like 30 years later, and I still hear those voices. It's crazy. So, but just being able to recognize that that's part of my resistance, is these old patterns that kept me stuck, right? And so I will share that when you're eating in alignment with your highest and best, which is going to be somewhat different for each of us, what's going to happen is it's going to calm some of those voices. It's going to calm down some of those things, because a lot of times we live in a world where a lot of our food is actually pretty toxic. And yes, maybe that's an exaggeration, but you know, somehow a lot of the ingredients and foods have gotten through the FDA and approved so that we can eat them. But just because it's approved by the FDA doesn't necessarily mean that it's a healthy choice and it's a healthy option. You know, a lot of the ingredients in our foods are banned in Europe, and you know, and there's an understanding too in the health and wellness community that, you know, people will go to Europe and be able to eat Italian food because there's no glyphosate in it. There's no, you know, they don't spray down the crops in, you know, overseas with glyphosate, which is it's Roundup, and they still do that over here in the States. And so a lot of people are probably going to be finding is that they're not really gluten intolerant, they're glyphosate intolerant. And so they can go to Europe and eat, you know, pastas and breads just fine, because there's not chemicals put on the food. And so, yeah, and so you're going to find that, you know, just because it's approved by the FDA doesn't necessarily mean that it's safe for you personally to enjoy. And so anyway, so all of these things really play into part of our resistance, because when we feel bad, right, or I meet a lot of people who they'll eat like once a day, right, and they'll go the entire day, they'll eat a huge dinner and go to bed, and then do that like consistently every day. Well, that is a survival pattern, and it's typically not one that's going to really support your wellness. I'm super sensitive with my blood sugar levels, and if my blood sugar levels if they drop, like I start to get negative, I start to complain, and it's a really subtle shift from this place of being really supported energetically with our food to depletion. It's a really subtle shift, and a lot of times we don't even notice it. And so that's why I always have food on me, because I have a tendency to, you know, get hangry. So And so a lot of times we don't even notice that. And then that begins to affect our families and our relationships. And, and the quality of our relationships is really a huge part of our life. And so when I begin to work with people, they'll find that they're actually kinder and nicer. They have more patience, right? Because when you feel supported, when you're reducing the stress from your food and your environment, then that leaves so much more space. Like for me, I was able to work through a really horrific marriage, and being able to hone in my nutrition and have really quality supplements to support me was able to get me just enough out of fight or flight to be able to start working out. Like I had the energy to work out. I had the energy to build a website. I had the energy to go and meet and network with new people. And so today I have a beautiful range of friendships because I had the energy and vitality to go find them. And all of my friends now are entrepreneurs. They're just really beautiful people, but also they're ambitious and striving for more. They're givers, they're helpers. And if I hadn't have had the energy and vitality to go find them, right, I might still feel super alone like I did in my marriage, right? So anyway, just working through that resistance a lot of times is really just our survival patterns trying to keep us safe. And how often have we shown up like really excited about something, doing really well, and then someone will say something, they're not feeling good about their life, so they say something terrible and like rain on your parade. Like how often has that happened, right? And so that sort of conditions us to not want to show up as our highest and best, because then we sort of have to vibrate away from some of the people we love. And I mean, I've had to do that. I have to purge a lot of friendships in that 10 years, and then bring in new people who resonated with who I am, who shine as well, right? So anyway, I just wanted to share that. So don't be afraid to shine. Don't be afraid to make a change. And sometimes our friendships can be part of that survival pattern, right? I was just reading this incredible book, and it was talking about even the relationships that we have can help keep us in the patterns that we're in. And I mean, I think that's so ironic, right? Because so for instance, like I'll be going into a gym, and I hear this a lot, where I'll hear like a woman talking to a best friend, like, they'll be complaining about their weight, or they'll be complaining about their body hurting, and they're doing the right thing, they're going to the gym, right? But they're complaining to their friend, and their friend, what is a friend gonna do? Is, oh, I feel you, I'm getting older too, I feel this, they're going to validate that feeling that, it's okay for your metabolism to slow down as you get older. It's okay for you to hurt as you get older, which is absolutely, in my professional opinion, is not true. You don't have to hurt. You don't have to have a metabolism that doesn't support you. So I just want to encourage you to really, really notice the people that you're listening to, and notice where they are in their lives. Because I usually take the opinion of people who are successful in that area of life. And that's what successful people do, is they follow other successful people. And successful coaches have coaches, right? I know for me, I've spent just like thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars over the last 10 years in my own personal coaching, so that I can show up and be the coach for my clients and for my people. And so just know that you really can transcend your personal family history. You can transcend every limitation that you experience in life, because ultimately we create our own reality. And where there's a will, there's a way, right? So it's finding that deep knowing inside of you that there's something better for you, and that you can have it. you know, and I truly believe that I can have everything in life. I can have absolutely everything. That Spirit wants me to be fully supported in all areas of my life. And I just believe that in my inner knowing. And I don't listen to, I will not accept, I will not listen to the people around me that tell me otherwise. Or that say, oh, well, you can have the career, but not the relationship. You can have the relationship, but not the career. You can have the family, but not, no. If it's in our heart, we're meant to have it, period, right? Because it's in our knowing. Like, no one would, like, you know, Spirit wouldn't dangle all these things around us and be like, oh, here you, yeah, you can't really have that. That's for somebody else. No, right? If it's in our heart, we're able to create it and become it, right? Because sometimes we have to become the person we want to be in order to attract the life we want. So I ask you, who are you becoming today? What are you releasing, right? What survival patterns, what thoughts, what belief systems are you releasing so that you can have the life of your dreams? Because I'll tell you that heaven is here now, not next week, not, right? You have the ability to tap into you know, the best part of yourself now, today, in this moment. Just breathe into your heart, right? All right, guys, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. And if you have questions or comments, feel free to write in the comments. And I'm here for you. I'm here for you, absolutely, all the way. We're meant to thrive, even in, you know, this crazy time that we're living in. We're meant to thrive, or at least start that process and get to the place where we can really be our best, so that so we don't have to search outside of ourselves for all these things. Everything that you need comes from within yourself. All right, guys, cheers. Hope you guys have a beautiful day. I'm off my rants on resistance, and I'm here for you. All right, guys, take good care. Bye now.